Welcome to Alive with Bhavna. This is Bhavna speaking. For those who don't know me, I'm a clinical psychologist who's been practicing for the past 18 years, both here in New Zealand and in South Africa. My mindfulness practice started in about 2005 in South Africa, and even though it started in South Africa, it's grown and become enriched in New Zealand through various mindfulness retreats and practices that I've engaged in. Part of my mindfulness practice has resulted in me writing a book called Self-Love, The First Step. And that book basically incorporates a combination of mindfulness and psychology in terms of giving you the best of both worlds and practical tools on how to change your relationship to yourself. Today's topic of conversation is mindfulness and connections. Before we get into that, a bit of an overview of what is mindfulness. So mindfulness is about living in the moment, engaging with the present moment in all that it entails, the good and the bad, with the attitude of acceptance and non-judgment. The acceptance and non-judgment are key elements in the mindfulness practice because they form the basis of us changing our relationship to our experiences. They form the basis of us learning how to reduce our attachment to events or outcomes. And in this way, engage more fully with life because we're not living or engaging in a way where we're waiting for things to turn out this way or not that way. The self-love element of mindfulness is focusing on developing and strengthening our relationship to ourselves, connecting to our hearts and treating ourselves kinder. The combination between the mindfulness and the self-love gives us tools to sustain our well-being for much longer. Mindfulness on its own is brilliant. It's an amazing tool, but it's only effective as long as we're practicing mindfulness. If we stop our mindfulness practice, we lose the benefit. Same thing as if I stop learning or practicing how to speak a language, I start forgetting how to say words. The self-love element that combined with the mindfulness, that has a longer durability, that stays longer. So the effects of the mindfulness with the self-love has a longer lasting effect and is more doable even if we don't practice it daily. So today's topic is mindfulness and connection. Why is connection so important? For me, connection is about the fact that we're social animals. We're pack animals. We need our pack, we need our herd, because that's where our sense of connection comes from. We feel we need people around us, we need connections to feel that we belong. As children, we grow up in a psychosocial environment. We're learning from those around us as to what it means to be human. As we grow older, we still keep living and looking around us as to what it means to be human, how to connect, what does life look like, what does being this species entail, what am I striving for as this species that I am. And that's where connection is so important because it tells me about life, it tells me about connection, it tells me about what it feels like to be human. Young children will often mimic their parents or their environment. That's the main reason we learn how to walk, because we see all our species walking upright. So we go, that's what it means to be human. So I start learning how to walk. I learn how to talk my language because that's what the people around me speak. That's what connection is. That's what being part of the pack or herd is about. And for many of us, the sense of connection, the herd, the pack, is where we get our sense of safety because we know other people are looking out for us. We know we are protected by the group. For some people, unfortunately, this is the context in which they become abused or experience abuse, hurt, rejection, betrayal. And then the sense of connection or that idea of being part of the herd is not so safe anymore. Actually, my safety now is in disconnecting from the herd My safety is actually humans can't be trusted. Humans are not reliable. So actually I'm not going to connect. I'm going to isolate myself. I'm going to disconnect from society or people around me. But we don't need anything as big as trauma for us to disconnect. We disconnect because people have hurt us on a smaller level. Our parents didn't come for my concerts, or they weren't attentive enough, or my boyfriend left me and that just broke my heart, and I feel it's unsafe to reconnect with someone because people just aren't reliable. They're not trustworthy. We've all had our reasons on why we disconnect. We all had our evidence that humans aren't trustworthy or dependable, and it makes us feel unsafe. So we withdraw. We isolate ourselves. We start living in my little world where it's completely safe. My world is safe. I can interact with me and I can do what I want in my world where everything is really safe. It's predictable. But the problem with that is that life is about energy. It's about connection. So the minute I disconnect from life, I feel the disconnection. I feel the isolation. I feel the sense of not being safe enough. I now have to look after myself solely. When I visit the Kruger National Park, which is a big national game reserve in South Africa, the rangers always say a solo animal, a solo pack animal, is the most dangerous animal in the park. Because this is an animal who's used to his herd. This is an animal that depends on its herd for safety, and all of a sudden it's now kicked out. It's the most dangerous animal because it will attack anyone that comes close to it, or anything that comes close to it, because it can't discern, is this safe, is this not safe. Just as a safety precaution, I just go with everything is unsafe. Much safer than trying to judge, evaluate. The animal can't relax, can't be at peace, because it's always on hypervigilance. It's always looking out for danger, because it doesn't have the safety of the herd. It doesn't have the safety of the pack. It doesn't have someone watching over it, protecting it, caring for it. So it has to do all of those things that the whole herd does by itself. That's the most dangerous animal. We self-inflict this isolation on ourselves. We decide humans can't be trusted. People are unreliable. So actually I'm going to disconnect. And when we disconnect, we feel psychologically exactly the same thing as that animal. We feel the disconnect. We feel anxiety. We feel fear. We feel vulnerability. So those are psychological stuff that tell us we're not safe. We can't rest. We can't be at peace. So what we do is we say, okay, fine. If I can't connect with my psychological environment, then I need to create a story in my head that tells me it's okay to be where I am. Because as long as I'm feeling this distress, it's not safe. The other level of my distress, which I become aware of on a deeper level, is not only do I feel disconnected from my community, do I feel the anxiety, betrayal, fear, but on a deeper psychological level, I've lost my humanness. I've lost my what is the essence of being a human, of being me, of being this animal. And that's a deeper loss that most of us are not aware of when we disconnect. So this deeper loss, again, to numb it, to make it okay, we create a story. And the stories we tell ourselves is stuff like, actually I like my own company. I prefer hanging out by myself. I don't need people. I can do it all by myself. We get pets, because pets are animals are reliable. They're trustworthy. So I'll have my cat and my dog and whatever other animals I feel like surrounding myself with, and I know they show me love. My cat will purr as I pet it. My dog will wag his tail and lick me. and show me all the love. So I'm loved. I'm part of a pack. Look, I got all these people, animals around me that love me, that show me affection, that validate my being. But I still feel the loss. I still feel the disconnection because I'm not connecting with my kind. And I know that I'm not part of my herd. I'm part of, animal world. They can't, my pets, as lovely as they are, they can't look after me when I'm alone or scared. They can't take me to the doctor. They can't make me a cup of tea. They can't look after me when I'm sick, unwell, lying in bed, needing the doctor, needing a hospital, or just needing a rub, or someone to care for me. They can't do that. They can lick me and they can care in their ways, but they can't heal me. So my disconnection continues. So on a physical level, I replace my disconnection with animals. On a psychological level, in this day and age that we live in, it's really easy to create a sense of connection. I'll go onto Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. I go onto social media and I create a persona. I create a whole lot of friends. I have 500 Facebook friends. I belong to various different groups online. I watch YouTube clips of people gathering and doing things together, and I tell myself, by watching this, I can actually feel and imagine that I'm there. I don't have to leave the house. Through the computer screen, I can live all of these experiences. I can connect without risking my vulnerability, without risking being hurt, without risking someone seeing me. So I do that. I connect on YouTube. I connect on Facebook. I have up 500 friends. But even then, my sense of social isolation increases because I'll post something on Facebook and not as many people liked it as they usually do. Or so-and-so who always comments on my post hasn't. Have I done something wrong? Have I offended her? What's going on? How come I feel like my belonging in this virtual world is threatened? Because what have I done wrong? Why am I not getting the contact that I need? Why are people not responding to me? So it increases my anxiety, and I try and take actions to make sure that my belonging in this virtual world is secure. So I'll post another thing. Or I'll try and contact this person in a different way, saying, hey, have you seen my post? What do you think of it? Because I still need that sense of belonging. But even though I do all of this, in my heart, I still know I'm disconnected. Like my animals, I know none of those 500 Facebook friends are going to look after me when I'm sick. I know none of those Facebook friends even know where I live, or even really care about me. I haven't posted for a day. No one's checked up on me. So the sense of isolation continues. Mindfulness is about us reconnecting. Connections is about safety. Connections is about getting back to our sense of belonging. Getting back to our place of belonging, our group of belonging. And our group of belonging is the group in which I can be me. The place where I can take my mask off and actually show my pain, show my joy, be fully human, and have it witnessed by other humans, have it validated by other humans. That's what true connections is about. That's what many or most of us are lacking or crying out for, a sense of belonging, a place where I can call home in a true sense of my emotional heart, being at peace, where I don't need to wear my mask. I don't need to put on an act. I can just belong. So mindfulness allows us to bring that into our fore. Mindfulness is about saying, okay, let's just stop and notice what's going on. Let's notice our breathing. Let's notice our lies that we tell ourselves. Let's notice what's really going on in my life. Let me notice my lies. And are they really true, or are they just stories that I've told myself for so long that I've actually believed them? So the first practice of mindfulness is actually just stopping the running and being connected with your breath, or whatever object you want to notice for your mindfulness. And generally in a practice, people sometimes have one split second of feeling connected, feeling whole, feeling at peace. And that's enough to keep the motivation going. The self-love aspect of the mindfulness is saying, I am worthy enough to spend 10 minutes a day on me. I'm gifting myself this precious time with me. I kind of see it symbolically as I'm having coffee with my best friend. I'm giving myself 10 minutes to have coffee with my best friend. So it's gifting myself that time to connect with me, to connect with my heart, to feel my heart, to notice the lies I tell myself, to notice how my lies keep me in distress, keep me separated, keep me isolated. So the first part is stopping and facing the truth. The second part is learning how to connect with myself, learning how to connect with my heart. For those who've heard my previous talks, part of mindfulness is learning how to sit with difficult emotions. It's kind of sitting with yourself with love and compassion like you would a child who's in pain. So it's sitting with myself with this love and connection and saying it's okay to feel this pain. It's okay to feel this way, but it's not okay to keep nurturing this pain and letting this pain grow and rule your life. You're allowed to feel it, you're allowed to express it, and let it go, release it, set yourself free. Otherwise, the pain keeps me in disconnection. As long as I think I can't trust people, it keeps me in disconnection. But the essence of mindfulness is first starting with you. Can you trust you? Can you start building a relationship with yourself where you feel, actually, this person's quite okay. Moving up from that is actually, I like this person. I like hanging out with me. I'm not that horrible. I'm not that bad. I'm not as broken as I thought I was. And that's what sitting and just noticing your breath gives you. It looks like you're doing nothing. It looks like a sense of isolation. The whole traditional idea of mindfulness is the guy sitting on a mountain in Himalayas, completely isolated from society, meditating. It's easy to do mindfulness isolated from humanity, but that just increases our disconnection. Mindfulness is about living as fully human as I can, and I can't live fully human on a mountain in Himalaya, because it's easy in that context to practice peace, love, because I don't have someone irritating me or nagging me or making me distressed in any way. But in life, I have people who are causing distress, who are annoying, irritating, frustrating, or just causing me pain in some way. And it's how do I bring my mindfulness into my life so that I can learn how to connect with these people. But first, before I can connect with these people, I need to connect with myself. I need to be okay with me. I need to be okay in my skin rather than seeing me as deficit, of lacking. That's why I got kicked out of the herd. I got kicked out because I didn't belong. I didn't fit in. Others stayed in because they were okay, not me. This is changing that mentality. I was never broken. I chose to leave the herd. I wasn't kicked out. And reconnecting to myself also means reconnecting to my environment. But it doesn't mean going back to the situation that I was in. It doesn't mean I go into an abusive relationship. It doesn't mean I allow people to hurt me. I go in as a stronger person, a person with firm boundaries, because I've learned to put firm boundaries on myself of what is acceptable and what is unacceptable behavior. I've learned how to treat myself with respect through the mindfulness and the self-love. And I expect other people to treat me in the same way. I stop having double standards in terms of it's okay for you to call me fat, but it's not okay for me to call me fat. No, there's one set of rules. And I manage that. And I have firm, healthy boundaries. And yes, I might lose people. I might lose people who are not willing to accept my boundaries. But this is about me engaging in my community with a sense of wholeness, with a sense of authenticity. And what I found was, as I do that, I all of a sudden start meeting people who live a similar way. My networks increase, my social connection increase, and I meet people who are more able to share their true selves with me, who are able to open their hearts on rather than hide. So my sense of belonging increases, my sense of community increases, my sense of freedom increases. And it all starts with the idea of starting to connect with myself. Another part of mindfulness is healing our wounds. We can do this in mindfulness by sitting with our pains and nurturing that. But what I found more effective is going for therapy. It's seeing a professional who's able to challenge our lies, who's able to put up a mirror so that we can see what we're doing, or just offer a different point of view. So in that sense, therapy is more effective than mindfulness for the facing of our pains, for the changing of our attitudes. And it's combining both of those in a way to bring us back to ourselves. For clients with whom I've started working with this way or have finished therapy with me, some of them report or tell me that before therapy or when we started working together, they lived online. Now they're starting to live in the real world. They're starting to connect with people. They're starting to have real connections with people. They feel closer to their loved ones, their husbands, wives, whatever. They feel closer to them than they've ever felt before. Purely because they're able to share both their joy and their pain. They're able to feel safe with the people around them, knowing that these are a few people who they can rely on. Yes, they're not going to always get it right. They're going to mess up sometimes because they're human, as are we. But they are still able to share their vulnerabilities. They're able to work through difficulties. And this is not a fairy tale where they lived happily ever after, but they lived in a more connected way. They faced difficulties like we all do. But when we face difficulties with my herd or my pack behind me, it's a lot easier to face than when I'm facing myself alone. And that is how mindfulness helps us to connect with ourselves and our communities and to live a sense of wholeness. If you want to see me about mindfulness, self-love therapy, the easiest way to find me is on my website, which is alivepsych.co.nz. My phone number is 022 08 43 095. And we are hosting a retreat on mindfulness and self-love on the 11th to 14th of October at Tamwata Retreat Center in the Coromandel. There is ACC funding available for that, or if you want to self-fund, it's $495. You can use my details that I've said to contact me about this or to ask any questions. Thank you. This is Bhavna from Alive with Bhavna.